What's up, everyone? It is Sunday, May 26, 2024. It's the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. I'm joined by my co-host here, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, it's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Ontario. How's it there, man? Is it raining?
Yeah, kind of sunny here. So yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah,
good. Dude, it's been fucking hot here. I don't know about you guys, but like it's been really hot. Like it's almost unbearably hot. It's like a vacation spot out here. But like I think a full set of clothes on, so it's not the easiest day to go out. But I'm gonna go swimming later probably today. Got my baseball league starting, so it's good, man. All's good. Looking forward to talking about this card with you. We had a break this week, Marcel. How did you enjoy your week off?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I mean, yeah, there was some fighting on, but I didn't really I wanted to watch it or whatever.
You mean you didn't go to the way to watch Misfits boxing? Come on, man.
I really don't care, to be really honest,
Same
man.
here.
I saw so many MMA websites were covering it. I was like, dude.
I swear to God, these guys covered this influencer boxing stuff more than actual MMA. Like it sure seems like it, doesn't it? Like I could care less about this stuff. I saw the Clipper page getting dropped, but other than that,
yeah,
but
it's more like you see it passing your timeline. It's not like I'm searching for it. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I love the Discord last night though, where you guys were talking about the fight, and I'm like, well, I did my tape study watching El Brook and Johnny Sins go at it, so that was my tape study for the week, Marcel. So it was good. By the way, Paige has a huge back tattoo now. I just saw that, by the way. So wonder if Austin Vanderford likes that because she looked like Volkov out there, Alexandr Volkov. So that's a segue to MMA. Yeah, with the back tattoo, or like Sean Brady or something, some bat dragging on your back. Anyways, let's get into MMA. We got dude, you can't. Like I said this years ago. Was it? Don't leave any stone unturned, right? So I had to check. I had to check out her head. I had to check out her head movement, man. I had to.
I had to train his brain and his right wrist. So yeah, at the same time.
Too good, dude. What's up, Ryan? How's it going, man? Yeah, no, slow weekend for sure. Yeah, it's one of those things. I actually had plans yesterday. My friend's son had his birthday. He was 2 years old, so I drove to Hamilton, Ontario, which is about 2 hours from here. Took 3 though because there was a lot of traffic. But good friend of mine, a guy that I used to watch MMA with, 15 years ago. He doesn't live around me anymore, but it was nice to see him anyway. So that at least I got to do something with my day off, Marcel. But I'll be honest with you guys. Sometimes we do complain about these cards that aren't very good, but at the same time, like, I love MMA, man. I love the UFC because I think they put on the best show. So I know there was Cage Titans last night. I'll give Spectation a shout out. I do some writing for them. Joe Giannetti won again, Marcel. He won his belt back. So he won. And then this guy, John Piersma, won. He might get called to the UFC soon. He's very good. He actually fought in the Fight Pass Invitational. Yeah, and that too. But he also fought Rafael Lovato Jr. and went to a draw with him. And I think he beat Phil Rowe in grappling too. So he's a guy that's very good. I think he'll be in the UFC. And I'm pretty sure Joe should get a call back at some point. I mean, Joe Giannetti's a good fighter. He only had the one loss in the UFC, Mike Trezano, Ultimate Fighter finale. Remember him, Marcelo Skeletor?
Of course.
Yeah, Mr. Cage Titan. The guy's I think he's got 20 fights in Cage Titans. It's crazy. So I wanted to give them a show because they put on a good show. I know they had odds, although our boy Zach here, he listened to my picks and he got 2 of the 3 right, but the one girl lost in the first fight. So I think here's what, Zach, I think he should get on Contender Series though. At the very least. I agree the level competition is not amazing there, obviously. I mean, these guys are facing Jay Ellis every other weekend, but the GOAT, by the way, Marcel, Jay Ellis. But at the same time, no, you can't discount all the wins they're getting. And they brought a lot of guys from that promotion, like, what's his name? Peter Barrett, remember him? Slippery Pete, he came in. Obviously, Joe was in the UFC at one point.
Randy Costa.
Randy Costa. What's the guy who fought Sodiq Yusuf? Don Shainis. Don Shainis.
Oh, yeah, Shainis.
Who's the guy you were thinking about?
No, nobody.
Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, obviously, like, it's not the UFC, but, it's something to watch. And they do have betting odds for it, so it's always interesting to, break down the fights.
What happened to this guy who I thought should have got a contract last year, but he didn't after beating a guy, and they passed him over? It was a unanimous decision win against a former LFA champion, I think. And didn't give him the contract. I think it was week 7 or week 8. Can you remember?
A contender?
James Allen.
That guy. Yeah, he looked really good. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. What about him?
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering what he's up to, man.
Yeah, no, that guy did a great fight, and then I think Dana signed some guys that weren't very good. But anyways, let's get into some comments here. Ray Charles, what's up, man? June's gonna be great. I think there's 5 cards this month, isn't there? Or next month, I should say.
Yeah.
5 cards, right? UFC, and then the next break is I think July 7th.
The first July. First
after the Connor card, right? So
yeah,
and we'll talk about that as well. I think we'll just do UFC 302. We'll do a short podcast, Marcel. You can join for like 10 minutes after just doing the new fights. So let's get to the last couple comments, then we'll start breaking down these fights for 302. What's up, Joe? Glad to have you here.
I mean,
a lot of people. What's up?
Dana, of course, hopes that Connor wins so he can jerk for a week. That's why I need the week off.
Yeah. What's up, man? Glad to have you here. Sorry, I missed this comment. A lot of people are picking Dustin because they want to win. Deep down inside, they know he's number one. I mean, Dustin's got a puncher's chance, but we'll get into that fight in a few minutes. Okay, so yeah, UFC 302. I'll just, like I always ask you, Marcel, what's your thoughts on this card? Kind of put together short notice, but New Jersey card, lots of local flavor. What's your thoughts on this card?
Really honest?
Yeah.
That's a top heavy card, 2 fights. That's pretty much it. If one of those 2 fights fall off, the card is like pretty much a fight night, in my opinion. It's not a bad card. There are some fun matchups on it, but it's not like there are pretty much 2 pay-per-view worthy fights on this card, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some decent fights for sure, but I completely agree with you. I mean, if you didn't have, quite frankly, if you didn't have Islam on the card and Poirier, it would be a fight night card, right? Wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Strickland headlines fighting us all the time. I mean, now he's a former champ, so he'll be co-headline pay-per-views at this point. He's not a champ now, but
it's not a bad card, but it's just not like.
I think it's decent. I would like on paper. I think it's like a 7.5, but it's not the best.
A little bit high. I would say 6.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I have higher expectations than I'll say that. So that's the thing, right? If it disappoints you, I'll have a lower score, and if it's better than you thought, then you'll have a higher score next week. So we always do the scoring next week. All right, guys, we'll get into the fights right now. I'm gonna pull up the odds. We're gonna use UFCstats.com for the bout order, although it doesn't have the new fight listed between Mitch Raposo and Andre Lima. That's the new fight, right? That's confirmed.
Yeah, Mitch Raposo is red corner, I think. So, yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right, cool. All right, guys, let's get into this card. We'll start with the first fight. That's the fight. Mitch Raposo filling on a short notice here for the guy whose name I was dreading saying. I was like, oh God. I was like actually listening to the way he says it. Remember, I showed you the clip of him saying it. So we were going to get it right, but I didn't want to say it because I knew I was going to fuck it up. But anyways, Andre Lima is facing Mitch Raposo. So the odds for this one, they are out. Andre Lima is minus 205. Mitch Raposo plus 170. I'll let you start this one off, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Mitch Raposo, remember him all from the Dana White Contender Series where he fought Jake Hatley. Jake Hatley was a little bit too heavy, but Raposo lost to him. He also was on the Ultimate Fighter before and lost to Ludwig Shalinian. The 4-fight win streak after that, all 4 wins by stoppage. Fighting Andre Lima now. Andre Lima comes off that weird-ass win against Igor Severino, the DQ, the biting incident. Undefeated guy. And the thing was like if Andre Lima fought Namyargal Tumbandambarel, I would have went with Tumbandambarel. I would have went with Tumbandambarel, but I think Lima, I think Raposo was decent, but I think Lima wins the fight. I think Lima wins the fight by decision. I don't think there will be a finish. Raposo's tough, but I gotta go Lima. I like what I saw so far from him. I think the Severino fight was pretty close until it happened. So I like Lima here. I'm going with Lima by decision.
And Kyung Sung Park was supposed to be the original opponent. So this is the guy's third opponent. So he's obviously been training for a while ever since he recovered from that bite, which, I mean, the guy's back in the cage 2 months later. Like, was it worth cutting the other guy for? I don't know. We talked about that enough, though, last couple months. So, anyways, as far as this fight goes, I'm taking Lima too. More notice, obviously. Raposo's not a bad fighter. I think he's pretty good. I think he's a solid prospect. Obviously fought an overweight opponent in the contender, Jake Hadley, the only fighter who's ever missed weight and then won a contract. He was also an Ultimate Fighter. He lost to Ludwig, which is not a good loss in my opinion. He's a Cage Titan veteran. I actually just talked about them before we jumped on the podcast. We were discussing Cage Titans. Which I remember, at the beginning of this podcast, I should say. It's a good segue to it, actually, because he came from there. And again, I think it's a decent promotion. But again, going from Cage Titans at CES, which is in Combat Zone, those are all like those northeastern American promotions. I think Combat Zone is, if I'm not mistaken, that is Calvin Cater's promotion, right? I believe Combat Zone. I'm pretty sure it's his.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, this is a step up, right? So, Lima looked good in his debut. I think he was going to win that fight. I like this guy. I picked him in that first fight, which was, I think, a hard fight to pick against Severino. This one, I have to go with the guy, though. I mean, from what I saw, he looked really good. Again, more notice here, and I like him to get the win. Decision seems likely here because Mitch is pretty tough, but he could finish him too. I wouldn't be like 100% sure on the method, but yeah, I'm definitely going to take Andre Lima to get the win here in this fight. And I agree completely with this. The guy whose name I can't pronounce, I think that fight was a tough one to call. I mean, I wasn't sure about that one. That was like, to me, more of a pick-em type fight. So I'm kind of glad that they went with this one because I feel like Lima's going to win. I feel a little better about it. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We've got, oh man, Marcel, your favorite here. One of Marcel's favorites, Ailin Perez taking on Joselyne Edwards. Odds for this one, Mrs. OnlyFans minus 205, and Marge Simpson plus 170. Who's your pick in this one, man?
You go first, man. You go first.
I have to take Ailin Perez. I mean, regardless of what you think about her and her ass shaking and her OnlyFans and the video that we saw that was floating around, I don't know if you guys saw it. I mean, I can't get it out of my mind now. Dude, she's actually a decent grappler, right? Like, she's a good wrestler. We saw that against Ashley Evans Smith, 10 takedowns, which I believe is a record for the division. And then against Lucia Pudilova, also in that fight, grinding it out. I don't think she's amazing by any means, Marcel. And honestly, I do kind of question her dedication to everything with everything I see on social media. But from what I've seen in the cage, she's not too bad of a grappler. And that should be enough to win this fight, I think, against Joselyne Edwards, who has a 64% takedown defense over 6-7 UFC fights. So we do have enough of a sample now to kind of know that she doesn't have great takedown defense. Joselyne Edwards does make fights pretty like close, though. You know, she's had some split decisions, some that probably shouldn't have gone her way, some that should have gone her way. So it's one of those things where I think this fight goes the distance. I'm pretty sure the judges will get involved. The judges in New Jersey, I think, are pretty decent usually, right? When you say New Jersey judges, they're pretty good. Or what do you think? Not so good?
I have, I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I cannot remember, dude.
Hard to say. I want to look back at that Atlantic City card for a second, the Blanchfield Fuhrer card. From what I remember, they're pretty good. The refereeing on that card was bad. The judging was pretty good, but the refereeing was horrible. So that's something to keep in mind. The refs are, I mean, God, who was the ref on that fight? Was it not Keith? Was it Keith Peterson, the one fight, or was it the other guy, Shaylin? Chris Weidman and Bruno Silva.
Was it that?
Was it Shaylin Ribeiro? Was that who it was?
Yeah, the Ribeiro guy, I think, right?
I'm gonna double check it.
No,
it's Gary Copeland. That's the guy.
Copeland, yeah, it was Copeland.
Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking about. My bad. Sorry, guys.
Brock, yeah.
I'm worried about that guy if he's on this card. I mean, he better not fuck it up again because he had a horrible performance. Like, he had one of the worst performances ever by a referee. So that's something to keep in mind here. But again, that's so hard to handicap. Anyways, getting back to the fight, Marcel, Ailin Perez by decision. That's my pick. I think she grinds it out, wins the decision. I think it'll be competitive, but she wins 2 of the 3 rounds, and I think she wins the decision. What do you think, man?
Same pick, next.
I do agree with this guy, though. You know, the fight should be competitive. You know, that's the worry here.
There are some
involved.
There's some history between the two, right? So they went at it in the Performance Institute. So
it's just, I remember that. I know it's been a few years, but the Jessica Rose Clark fight, Marcel, where she just kept getting taken down, Joselyne Edwards. I just think that happens here too. And even Carol Hosa, who's not really a grappler at all, took her down 4 times. So
the weird thing with Joselyne Edwards is that she has likely won 2 fights with split decisions she should have lost, and the one I think she should have won against Cornoli, she lost. So
one of those things. There's another fighter like that where was it Demopoulos, I think, where she's winning these decisions she shouldn't have won, and the ones that she should win she loses, or maybe she shouldn't have won anything, according to you, anyways. Let's go to the next fight here.
She should have an even record, dude, in the UFC, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, most likely. All right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. We got Mickey Gall taking on Bassil Hafez, the Habibi. And the odds for this one, Basil's a big favorite, Marcel. Huge favorite, actually. Minus 298, which is like basically minus 300. And then plus 240 on Mickey Gall. I'll start on this one. I love Bassil in this fight.
I didn't know his nickname was the Habibi.
Habibi.
You know what it means, right?
My love or something?
Yeah, my honey or something. Yeah, my love. Habibi.
I think it's like Arabic, right? I believe.
Yeah, Habibi is Arabic. Yeah.
Getting to the fight, though, I mean, I love him in this fight. I think he just beats the crap out of Mickey Gall. I think he takes him down at will. We saw against Jack Daly in Atlanta, he was able to get takedowns. So that was on super, super short notice. The guy is super durable from what I've seen. He's been out for a while, but I think he's ready to go. And here's the thing with Mickey Gall. He got cut, and then they brought him back just for this card, but he didn't win any fights outside the promotion. He just got brought back. His career, but they're all by decision. The guy is extremely durable. He's going to be hard to put away. So how does Mickey win if he can't submit him? He's not going to knock him out. And on the grappling, yeah, Mickey's got subs again, like I said, but the actual pure wrestling is Hafez is by far, in my opinion, Marcel in this fight. I really like him here. I think minus 300. That's a fair line for what he should bring to the fight here. Mickey Gall 36% takedown defense, and that's over 10 fights in the UFC. It's terrible. I don't see any. I know he's been out for 2 years. I'm sure he's been shoring it up. I don't think it matters. And also, Mickey Gall's chin is not very good either. He's been dropped. Last 2 fights, he got dropped. He got knocked out by Mike Pilat. He's been dropped a lot in the UFC. And if you look at his wins, Marcel, he has 0 wins over anyone in the UFC. 0. And that's in let me count how many fights he has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fights. I think the UFC never did him a favor by bringing him in so early in his career. He came in with a 1-0 record. He fought a bunch of cans. And then once he started fighting good fighters, he started losing. So a guy I can't trust at all. I think Bassil Hafez, honestly, Marcel, it could look like the fight with Diego Sanchez. I think it could look like that. Takes him down, beats the crap out of him, wins by TKO punches from back mount. I'm 99% sure Bassil Hafez wins this fight. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's probably my most confident pick of the card, Bassil Hafez here. I think he gets in the takedowns, and I think he finishes Mickey Gall via ground and pound in the second round. So it's one of my most confident picks as well on this card. When I saw the fight and being announced, I was like, good first win probably for Bassil Hafez in the UFC. Yeah. I'm fully on Bassil Hafez in this one.
It really seems like it's thank you for taking the fight with Jack on short notice. Yeah. Here's a guy you should beat. I feel like they do that sometimes. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Who was he supposed to fight actually in January?
Preston Parsons, I think. I'm pretty sure that
was a more tougher fight, I think, man.
I think so too. And Preston's fighting Obon Elliott now, I think, in Manchester, right? So to me, that's a harder fight. Now, I will say the guy's record's not great on paper, 8-4-1, and that's what people are going to say. They're like, how can you trust this guy at minus 200? I get that, but to me, the skill is there. The skill is there. The style's there. He should win this fight. So I really like him. Yeah, let's go to the next fight here. This is a fun fight, Marcel. We have a rematch between Niko the Hybrid Price and Alex the Great White Morono. They fought back in 2015. Long fucking time ago, dude. And the crazy thing is, Niko Price knocked him out, but I think he tested positive for weed, and the fight got overturned. I think Niko doesn't smoke anymore, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, it was 2017, I should say. I don't think he smokes anymore, or at least a few years ago he quit. I mean, I know how, dude, as a former stoner myself, I mean, you say you quit, but you never really do. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that, but I don't think in 2024 that he's going to lose a fight for smoking weed. So I don't think it will be overturned, although, again, that won't matter when you place your bets because they don't test until after, or the drug tests don't come back until after the fight. Minus 238 for Morono, despite losing the first fight, he is a big favorite here. Niko Price 195, and honestly, man, I agree with it. Because I think these guys' careers have gone completely different ways since then. Niko Price is coming off, and I was there last year against Robbie Lawler, a horrible knockout loss. Before that, Phil Rowe destroyed him. He's only won one fight in the last 5 years. One fight in the last 5 years. I mean, it's just not good enough. He gets dropped all the time now. He gets taken down. He gets beat up. He's a fun guy to watch, man. I really enjoy watching Niko Price fight. He's always been one of my favorites, but I just feel like Marcel at this point of his career, he's really on the downside of his career, and I think he was supposed to fight Jeremiah Wells on this card first, and I would have picked Jeremiah Wells in that fight too. Morono filled in. He's filling on somewhat short notice, but he just fought Court McGee. It wasn't the best performance he's had, but still got the win. It's a guy who's a good fighter. Alex Morono, I think, is one of the more underrated fighters in the welterweight division. He's just solid everywhere, dude. He's a guy that is pretty trustworthy for the most part. I know he's had a few hiccups here or there, but for the most part, he's a guy that if you bet your money on, he's going to fight hard for you, and you'll know at least he'll give you an honest effort in the cage. So for me, it's Alex Morono, and for me, the question is, does he win a decision, which is kind of what he does, or does he finish Niko Price? Because Niko, I think, is on a big decline. I think a finish is very likely here, man. So I actually think Morono could knock him out. Niko's been knocked out 5 times in the last 6 years, and I think that he might add a 7th knockout loss here. So it's complete opposite of what the first fight went like, I think, and I think that Morono gets the finisher probably. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man, I remember when Niko Price came in the UFC, when he gave an interview, he was always laughing like he was high, you know. I was like, it's all,
I love him, man. He's an awesome dude, man.
Yeah, me too. Great family man as well, you know. So,
yeah, he's got like 6 kids or something, right? Doesn't he? Like he's got a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember somebody saying on Twitter, when there was a replacement necessary at welterweight, it was like, who should be replacing this guy? And somebody posted like Niko Price because he never pulls out.
That's funny. You know what's funny? I don't think he ever fought Alex Cowboy Oliveira, but if they had, he did fight him. Never mind, fought him 3 years ago. Between the two of them, they have like 20 kids. Like
something like that. Yeah,
dude, they could have a whole football team, bro. So that would be awesome. But I love Niko. He's such an awesome dude. I don't trust him anymore. I know you don't either, right?
No, great guy. Listen, man, Niko, great guy, but he's on the decline. I feel like Morono. Yeah. Morono is the kind of guy who is like. He's not super spectacular, but you know what you can expect from him, and he's a kind of an underrated guy. He's always hanging in between 15 and 20, those places, 15, 20, 25, in between that, never going into the top 15 for some reason, because he loses the fights that gets him into the top 15, but he's always hanging around there. So he's a decent fighter, I think, and I have to pick him here, Does he finish him? I don't know, man. I mean, I thought Morono would for sure finish Court McGee last time as well, and he didn't, I'm going with decision win for Alex Morono here. Yeah.
I mean, listen, like Niko's got 6 kids. He's going to need this win bonus. He's going to fight hard, but eventually I think the chin's going to crumble again. And I could possibly see this, if he gets knocked out again, I could see this being the last fight for Niko in the UFC. Because honestly, man, after that Robbie Lawler fight last year, I thought that might be the end of him, but they're giving him another shot here, and I just don't like the matchup for him. So, all right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. We have Phil Rowe taking on Jake Matthews. Interesting fight here in the welterweight division. I'll get your thoughts on this one, Marcel. We have the odds for this. Jake Matthews, minus 162 favorite, plus 136 on Phil Rowe. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, man, I'm going with the underdog in this one.
Where's your button? Where's your dog button?
Yeah, it's broken. I'm sorry. I don't have. I don't have a screwdriver here, so I cannot fix it right now. And, yeah, man, Phil Rowe. I feel like Phil Rowe is kind of an underrated guy. For some reason, he won 3 in a row before he losing to Magny. But was it a fight he could have won as well? It was a close fight, I remember. And then he would have been on a 4-fight win streak. And to be really honest, I know he lost his debut against Gabe Green, but remember that I didn't agree with that. I told you that back then, So for me, it's like, I won't say he's without a loss in the UFC because he lost twice, but he could have been without a loss in the UFC, If you look at Jake Matthews, really inconsistent. Got that big win over Andre Fiallo in 2022. Fiallo isn't here anymore in the UFC. Lost to Samuel Burr, got knocked down in every single round. Won against Darius Flowers in a fight we expected him to win. Darius took that fight on 1 week's notice, and then lost to Michael Morales. I think Jake Matthews, he's still young, he came very young in the UFC. He's 29 now, but I feel like he always kept being that being the, how do you say that, being the talent. He was the talent, and for me, he's still a talent. You know what I mean? He never surpassed that talent spot for me. And to Rowe's still growing in his game. I think will be a close fight. I'm going with Phil Rowe by decision, man. But can go either way. It's a difficult fight for me to pick, but I'm going with Rowe.
Yeah, this is his 20th fight in the UFC, Jake Matthews. He's been in the UFC for 10 years. And he's not even 30 yet. That's crazy. Yeah, you know what, man? I think this is one of the hardest fights on the card to call.
Yeah,
this is one. I think so too. So I'm with you completely. I'm staying away from it. I'm very torn on this one because I've always liked Phil Rowe, and my initial thought was Phil Rowe, but man, the takedown defense is bad. 59%, very bad. Jake Matthews can grapple him, I think, and just take him down and grind him out. And Jake's got pretty good cardio. He's not a guy that's going to like gas like Orion Kossi. Remember that guy? He kept taking him down, then gassed out and got brutally knocked out. I really like Phil Rowe, though, man. I mean, he's got the reach here. He's got the height. I think he's definitely got a chance. I think he's one of the better underdogs on the card. So he's definitely got a chance here. It's just, it's a tough one to call. I'm kind of leaning Matthews by decision. That's kind of my pick here, Marcel. I'm not confident either way though. So we're torn on this one, guys. We're split on this one. I'm like 51% on Matthews. I'm like very torn on this fight. I don't have a super confident pick either way. So Matthews by decision. You think it goes the distance, or you think he knocks him out?
Yeah, decision, man. And I feel like I said, close fight. And does Matthews wrestle with Rowe, or just going to strike with him? I'm not sure what's going to happen, So, close fight, man. It's a difficult one, like you said.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of the harder fights in the card to call. So, all right, let's go to the next fight here. We got a grappler's delight here, Marcel. Grant Dawson taking on Solecki. Odds for this one, Grant Dawson minus 355, plus 280 on Solecki. So Grant is the second biggest favorite in the card behind Islam. And I think Grant wins the fight. I think he's going to be able to get the fight to the ground against Solecki. Solecki will want to grapple him. That's his game too. But I think Grant can be heavier on top. I know Grant's obviously coming off that horrible loss to Bobby Green. But, I mean, Solecki's not a guy who's going to knock him out, I don't think. I think Grant is the better fighter overall. If it does stay in the feet, I think he's better. The thing is, regardless of that Bobby Green fight, look at the fights before that. Look at the Demir fight. Like, look at that fight. And you look at that guy that beat Demir, and that's guy that's top 15. So, yeah, he did lose that fight to Bobby Green. It was a horrible loss. It's the kind of loss that, he's going to eat inside of him. But I think he can bounce back here. I think Solecki's a pretty good fighter. I think he's kind of underrated, right? In a way, but he's also coming off a bad knockout loss that slammed to Jokar Close. And to me, Joe is not going to submit Grant Dawson. I'd be very surprised. So Joe will have to out grapple him and out wrestle him. And I kind of feel like it's going to be like that Jared Gordon fight where Jared's just a little bit better, like a little quicker and scrambles better. And Grant's the one getting the takedowns. In that fight, Joe did, but I think Grant gets takedowns here. So Grant Dawson, 30-27 decision. I think it's going to be rinse repeat on the takedowns, stay heavy on the top and win a decision. Played safe after that loss to Bobby. I think he's going to play it safe and just grapple right away. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man. Grant Dawson has like 80% of the fighters have a weird loss on their record that you don't expect. And it was against Bobby Green, I feel like, Yeah. I'm also on Grant Dawson here, man. Listen, man, there was a bad fight he had last time against Bobby Green, but before he had some stellar performances, and that's not going to be like, how do you say that? I haven't forgotten about that. Like you said, the Ismagulov fight, super dominant on the ground, did very well in that fight. I remember him defeating Mark Trezano when Trezano was still undefeated. Some good wins, I'm Grant Dawson here also by decision. And I like the parlay of Ula Juwan Dream. I think that's a great parlay.
I think all three of these guys win too. It's chalky, but I think they'll win. So, let's go to the next fight here. We got this is the main event of the prelims. Cesar Almeida taking on Roman Kopylov. I love this fight. I really like this fight, man. Two strikers. It's gonna be a fun fight, I think. Odds for this one, we have where is he? Kopylov's favored, minus 125. Cesar Almeida, plus 105. And I'll let you start on this one, man. I'll get your pick, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Go ahead.
I have a totally non-read on this fight for the simple reason that we don't know a lot about Cesar Almeida. Still don't know. We know he is a kickboxer, came over to MMA. He looked good in the Contender Series where he prevented the guy from taking him down and beating him, and he actually took him down at a certain moment. And with Budka tried to take him down, pretty much tried to dry fuck him the first round, and then in the second round he beat him. So with Kopylov, we know Kopylov had a very bad start in the UFC. He got fucking submitted by Carl Roberson of all people. Yeah. After that close fight with Duraev, where he got beat up early, but then came back in that fight. After that, he had some great performances, man. And then he's losing to Anthony Hernandez, which we have both picked Hernandez in that fight, so it was surprising to us. The thing is, there was no submission threat, in my opinion, from Cesar Almeida coming to Kopylov. So it will be a striking match, probably. Or even Kopylov can take him down, maybe, and do some ground and pound. But I don't know if that's going to happen. It's difficult, man. Listen, man, if Almeida can can stay sharp and can pick his shots, he can win the fight. At the same time, Kopylov has proven more to me in MMA so far. So it's difficult to say like, oh, Almeida's going to knock him out. Who knocked out Kopylov? I mean, he's hittable for sure, but he has some power as well. Gotta go Kopylov in this one, man. I understand if people picking Almeida here because I think it's a close fight and it will be a striking battle, but I'm picking Kopylov. I think more ways to win. I'm going with a finish as well. I'm going with a TKO finish in the third round for Kopylov.
Fair enough. Rough for me because I'm taking Cesar Almeida, dude. I love this fight. I think it's going to be a striking battle. That's the thing. I don't think it's going to go to the ground. I'm with you. If anyone's going to take it down to the ground, it's Roman, but like it's not his game at all. I just don't see that happening. How many takedowns does he have in the UFC? One? He's got like 1 or 2 takedowns in the UFC. I just don't see it happening, man. I think this fight's going to stay in the feed. They're both really, really high level strikers, but to me, Cesar's proven far more in the striking world. He's a guy that again he's fought Poirier 3 times. He beat him once. Since coming to the UFC, I mean, he's going to make a run now. He's 36, right? So the UFC's pushing him up the ladder. He's basically fighting the number 16 guy right now in the division. Yeah. Like I would think that Roman's the one guy out of the rankings, the next guy out of it. Dude, I mean, I like Almeida a lot. I mean, he looked, I thought, incredible in the Contender Series, and that's where I was like, wow, this guy's really good. And then obviously I picked him against Budka. That was, underdog of the year, easy pick. Budka landed 1 strike in that fight. Took him down 3 times, got back up, and then brutally knocked him out. I just think this guy is going to prove to be the better striker in this fight. I think he's going to show his experience in the striking acumen, and I think he knocks Roman out. I think someone gets knocked out in this fight. I don't think it goes the distance, man. So I think that's a good bet. The fight not going 3 rounds. I'd be surprised because I just feel like they're going to stand and trade until someone falls. And I really like Roman. I picked him a lot in the last couple of years. He is a very good striker. He's got good kicks. He's got nasty punches. He punches you to the body, to the head. It's nice, but I think he's hittable. And I remember that fight with Claudio Ribeiro last year. I had a big bet on Roman. He got hit a lot. I was really nervous. I think he did lose the first round. Then he brutally knocked him with a head kick, which was awesome. But again, getting teed off on and now facing a really high-level striker who, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I'm looking at the guy's Wikipedia, and I don't think he's been knocked out in kickboxing, so I think he's got a good chin. He is 36, though. Maybe it'll falter here. I don't know. And on this card where a lot of the favorites I think probably win, this is a dog I like. So Cesar Almeida is my pick, man. I'll take him as a dog. So there we go. All right, we'll go to the next fight here, guys. This is the opening main card bout. We have a fun welterweight fight here between Elizeu, Zaleski dos Santos, and Randy Brown. And the odds for this one have Randy Brown's favored -175, dos Santos +145. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, man, it's a fun fight, I think. If you look at Randy Brown, he got that big knockout win in his last fight against Muslim Salikov. And he actually has done well. He only lost recently to Jack Della Maddalena. That was early last year, And he got that loss to Vicente Luque, but that's in 2020. Besides that, he won pretty much all of his fights he fought, I had good battles, man, with Chaos Williams, for example, with Francisco Trinaldo. I think the Thurman fight wasn't that great, I think that was in Jacksonville last year, But he's good, and I think he's getting better, He passed the 30 now. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's getting better. If you look at Elizeu, Zaleski dos Santos, yeah, man, I always felt like he had more to offer, and then he lost to Li Jingliang a couple of years ago, and that was kind of surprising to me. He got that loss to Muslim Salikov in the fight I thought he won. And listen, if you look back at it, he had a great win over Benoit Saint-Denis, although it was at welterweight and Benoit's now in lightweight, right? Last time against Rinat, that draw, I actually thought he lost the fight. I think it was 2-1 for Rinat, but hey, whatever. He got the draw there. It's a difficult fight, man, in this one. I think Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos is a guy you don't like to fight. You know what I mean? It's a guy who is very tough, solid on the ground, great fun stand-up, capoeira background, Randy Brown is pretty decent. Man, I'm seeing this fight going to a decision. I think another close decision. I'm picking Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos to win here.
There's a dog pick for Marcel, so a second dog in the card for Marcel. Yeah, I mean, I think this fight's close, and it's another close fight. I think Randy's a little overvalued here, minus 175, because to me, this is more of closer to kind of a pick-up fight, because I'm having a hard time picking it, to be honest with you. They're both good. I mean, they're both very good. The reason I like Randy here is just the length, the reach, the height, and I think it's going to be a striking battle. And also, like, I think he's, a pretty decent grappler if the fight goes to the ground. I think he can hold his own there, so it's a slight lean towards Randy Brown, but I don't know, man. I'm not confident in it, dude, at all. It's a fight that I think can go either way. I don't blame you at all for taking Dos Santos. The guy's super underrated. He wins fights he's not supposed to. I mean, you look at the Renat fight, right? Like, that's a fight that, I mean, all of us counted him out in, and he forced a draw. So the guy's solid. He's really solid. He's won a lot of fights in the UFC, including a win over Sean Strickland by knockout, and Benoit Saint-Denis. Great striker. It's a tough one, man. I mean, honestly, like, I'm almost talking myself into picking him here, but coming into the podcast, I said I'd pick Randy Brown, so I'll still take Randy by decision. I'm just not confident in it, and I think, Marcel, you might be onto something, so that's my thoughts on this one. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We have the big boys, the heavyweights, Marcel. Jailton Almeida taking on Alexandr King Kong Romanov. The odds for this one have Jailton Almeida minus 270, Alexandr King Kong Romanov plus 220. And I'm taking Jailton Almeida. I think he bounces back here, Marcel, after the fight with Curtis Blades, which I think we both picked Curtis as a dog, right? Or was it just me? Just me? Yeah. I really like Curtis in that fight. I mean, he got taken down, though, a lot. It was scary, right? Like, he's getting taken down. It's like, oh, shit. I mean, I'm wrong about this. But again, Jailton gets knocked out. I still feel like his chin is kind of questionable after that. Honestly, I didn't like the way he reacted at all. But Alexandr's not a knockout threat at all. This is a grappler versus grappler fight. And to me, Jailton should be able to take Alexandr down. I know Alexandr's more of a bigger guy. He's more of a heavyweight, but, he's got pretty bad takedown defense. And to me, if you look at that fight with Juan Espino, I know it was a few years ago now, but to me, that's the most, like, similar fight to this, where he's facing another grappler, and he just got taken down, and he should have lost the fight, I think. I think he should have lost that fight. So, yeah, I got to go with Jailton. I think he bounces back after the last loss. I'm still not very high on him because I don't think he's I think he's one-dimensional. That's what I was trying to say. He's just very one-dimensional, but I think that one dimension is going to be enough to win this fight. So Jailton is minus 270 favorite. I think he gets the job done. I think he wins. I'll say a decision. Maybe it looks like that Tabura fight, that second, third round of that fight too. That's my thoughts on this one. What do you think?
I think Jailton should go to 205. That's what I think. But
I agree with that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Alexandr Romanov do we get? Do we get King Kong or do we get Burger King Kong? You know what I mean? So it's like really tough with this guy to see what is going to happen. Same time, I think Almeida will go with the takedowns again, try to control, maybe gets him out, but we're going with a decision win for Almeida by wrestling. That's what I think.
Let me check out his Instagram right now, see what kind of shape he's in.
If he posts it,
he didn't really post anything. That's something from April. He looks okay. He's got that Paddy Pimblett haircut now.
Yeah, I remember with when Said Yakub Romanov was fighting Said Nurmagomedov, and Nurmagomedov never posted something on Instagram. Said Yakub was like, "This dude's never posting something. I cannot even see how he looks like right now." And it's like, actually, this is a very smart thing to not post anything, So your opponent has no idea if he wants to see.
No worries. Yeah, I go to Romanov's Instagram. I'm just looking at the pictures of his wife now. I mean, good for him, man. This guy's definitely he's definitely lucked out in his life. I'll just say that. I mean, he's got tons of pictures of her on there. He's obviously proud of her, so it's good.
That's good.
But I think Jailton gets the win, man. Honestly, I think he gets the job done. And you're right. I mean, it's just because the one, the guy who was coming up. Remember when he was like minus 3,000, I think, against Chase Sherman, right?
Yeah.
Like he was a killer, dude. Right? You remember the Lima fight where he did the forearm choke, that nasty forearm choke? Like, that's a good win. That's his best win. It's actually kind of crazy. That was his best win. That was his second fight, I think, in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
But that guy that fought Volkov was so out of shape, and it just wasn't a good look.
It was already against Tabura, actually, the fight before
Tabura,
that. Where the cardio sucked, I remember. So
I'll give him a little bit of a pass because, man, fighting in Utah must suck. I mean, I couldn't do it. So when they go to these cards in elevation, please don't bring the heavyweights. Like, we don't need that.
I think they didn't do last time. Which card was that again? There was like a card with only
Mexico
like welterweights. I think the only lightweight was the heaviest.
Yeah,
fight. That was
it's
good.
better that. I mean, it's better that way. Like we don't need to see these big guys gas out. Like what's the point? It does. I'll give the matchmakers. I think do want to see that, like how good their cardio is, because if they're going to push them to the next level, they have to have good cardio. If you're going to be a champ of the UFC, you can't have bad cardio for the most part, right? So
but put it on the fucking prelims and not on the main card like they always do.
I'm with you. All right. Romanov, which one shows up? Yeah, pretty much. Dog shot Romanov. Jailton quit. He got finished. I mean, his chin is not, I don't think, the best. He's been knocked out before too. So did he get exposed? I think he got exposed more against Derek Lewis. The guy's a guy that fighting these elite guys. I don't know if Derek's elite, but top level guys, top 10 guys. Is he going to finish them? I don't know, but I don't think Romanov's top 10.
I don't think
is he ranked anyways? Romanov?
Yeah, he's ranked, but I don't think he's top 10. I think he's top 15. But I don't feel like he's exposed. 13. The thing is, like, I think he's like just not. I think he beats a lot of guys, man, at heavyweight, Jailton, Almeida. Just not the top guys who have more in their arsenal than just like getting control on the ground.
I mean, if he had beaten Curtis, he'd be fighting Tom Aspinall for the belt right now, right? So,
and let's be honest, I like Jailton a lot, but he wouldn't have won that fight,
Against Tom, no, he would get destroyed, right? So, McDonald's Romanov is a mythical character that hopefully doesn't come back because he didn't look very good in that fight. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got Kevin Holland taking on Michal Oleksiejczuk. See, I can pronounce it properly now, man. I don't see the wrong one. All right, on to this one. Kevin Holland, minus 238. Michal, plus 185. I'll start on this one. I like Kevin Holland in this fight, man. I think he's got more ways to win. That's why I like him in this fight. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. That's why I like him in this fight. Michal is definitely a good striker, good boxing, huge power. We've seen that throughout his career. But the ground game is really bad. He's been submitted a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4 submission losses. Even the Khalil Roundtree fight, that was one where he actually wrestled him. It's funny though, like since then he's just turned to a pure striker. Like he comes to the UFC, wrestles Khalil, and then obviously that's a striker. That's another striker that you don't want to stand with. But he hasn't really shown that ever since. He's only been a striker. And that's why I like Holland here, because I think that Holland can actually have the advantage on the ground in this fight. I think the striking, the first round is going to be scary for Holland because this guy's got big power. But Holland's a guy with a pretty good chin. He's never been knocked out. He did get finished by Stephen Thompson with the broken hand, but he's not a guy that you can really knock out. He's almost like, I don't think he's been knocked out. Was he knocked out years ago? I gotta double check. Let me double check. I don't think he had been, right? Never, no. Just a broken hand. So he's got a great chin. And he's a good striker. He's got power. Better cardio. Way better submissions. I think he submits Michal.
You broke your hand before, right?
I broke my thumb. I broke my arm.
Yeah, by carrying that dick all around, right?
I broke my thumb once. I threw an overhand right in sparring and hit the top of a guy's head and it broke. And then my arm I broke in sparring as well when I hit a guy's elbow. That's why I don't fight anymore. I don't want to break. Dude, this is my moneymaker, right? Can't type without it. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you've been typing. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
When I broke it, I was in my cast for 3 months, and I was typing with my left hand for 3 months. I did that to make some money, so it was horrible. I can't do that again. I can't risk it.
Yeah.
But I like Holland. Holland by submission, I think, is the bet to make. I really do. Let me check the odds. Holland by sub. Where is it? Holland by sub. Plus 330. I really like it. I think it happens. That's my pick. What do you think?
Yeah, finally a win for Holland again. Like I never used that joke before. I feel like, listen, he's back at 185 now for this fight. And Oleksiejczuk is inconsistent. He got that win over Shidi in Singapore, but he was also in trouble before getting that finish. I feel like he's pretty decent, but at the same time, Holland has more ways to win, in my opinion, as well, And I also think that Holland gets a submission. I think Holland gets a submission early, actually. So I'm picking Kevin Holland by submission in this one. Thought about this fight, was like on the fence first, but I think Holland has a better ground game. So I'm going with Holland. We saw this against Michael Chiesa as well, where you picked Holland by submission. A very good pick of yours.
Yeah.
I think Holland does it again, and he bounces back off 2 losses this time.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of him going back to middleweight? I should have asked you that. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that's what I think. I don't know if that's true. I think he went to welterweight to have more chance to get to the top, you know. And then he loses a close fight to Jack Della Maddalena, and he loses a fight to Michael Page, and he knows that also at welterweight he's not likely going to get to the top. So he's like, fuck it, I'm going back to middleweight and I can eat normal again, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and he makes
some weed and eat, right? Because he's a big smoker.
Yeah, and he's like that guy who, if he knows he's not gonna reach it, you know, he doesn't give a shit, and he just wants to fight, and he wants to get a paycheck. You know what I mean? And I mean, don't mean he wants to get a paycheck and just do whatever, but he wants to win, but he wants to have fun with it as well, you know, and not has all the bullshit with the cutting weight and the dieting. I think so. Yeah, I understand. And let's be honest, man, at middleweight, it's not like he was bad at middleweight, you know. Many people, including myself, was like at welterweight, maybe he's better, but maybe that's not the truth. Maybe he's at middleweight just as good as at welterweight. So we'll see, man. I mean, it was a short notice fight, I think, you know, because it got added like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, let's see, man. Maybe it's a good win. If he wins this fight, he probably gets a ranked middleweight next after this one. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, it was a random add to the card, wasn't it? That they added this fight. I'm not surprised they added Holland on short notice, but Michal is just out of nowhere kind of, because he's not really a guy that I think takes fights on short notice very often. So, and I'm with you too. I mean, Holland back at middleweight, like he knocked out Anthony Hernandez. I know it was a quick fight, but he knocked him out. Knocked out Joaquin Buckley when he was there. So, and he knocked out the GOAT Charlie Ontiveros too, right?
Of course, sideshow Bob.
Yeah. So, you know, again, his problem was, remember he fought Brunson and Vittori back to back. He gets taken down. I don't see Michal doing that. I mean, is Michal going to do the same thing he did against Khalil Roundtree all those years ago? I don't think so, man. Yeah, we haven't seen it since then, right? So
that fight also got overturned, I think, right?
It did. I think it was PEDs. I'm pretty sure. So, anyways, whatever. It's been a while. All right, let's go to the next fight here.
Yeah, I'm happy that fight we're going to is still on the card.
Yeah, me too. So we got Sean Strickland taking on Paulo Costa, co-main event, 5 rounds. So it's going to go, well, we'll see if it goes to full 5, but it's going to be scheduled for 5 rounds. Sean Strickland, minus 218, Costa plus 180. I want to get your thoughts, but I want to get your this quick answer. Is the contract signed? Because Strickland came out with the video, like, I think last week saying the contract wasn't signed. What's going on here?
What I've heard now, it is, man. But remember when I told you like 2 weeks ago that I heard that fight was off, and that was probably because Costa still hadn't signed the contract. And then Strickland came out with that video, which even put more in my head, like that's probably true, you know. And I know that we don't say against to who, but I know the UFC offered the fight against Strickland to other fighters. So Costa hadn't signed for some time.
You know? They offered him a rematch. We're not going to say who it was. You guys can kind of go through his record and kind of guess who it would have been. But the fight's happening, right? So it's on the poster. It's signed. It's ready to go. Give me your thoughts, man. What do you think?
I mean, I can be pretty short about this one, man, to be really honest. You know, I think Paulo Costa looked really well against Whitaker, although he was losing, you know. I think Sean Strickland, we should put some more respect on his name, you know. Before he was like, yeah, he's a decent guy and middleweight division. You always believed in Sean Strickland, by the way. I remember from when we started doing the podcast, you were always pretty high on him. And with Strickland, I mean, he showed against Adesanya he can go 5 rounds by playing his game and winning the fight. You know, he only lost the second round against Adesanya. Then he fought Dricus. Dricus was a close fight. I gave Dricus 2, 3, and 4, 1 and 5 to Strickland. But still, I can see people winning, seeing Strickland, picking Strickland. The thing is, like with Costa, you just have to watch out he doesn't knock you out. You know, if he hits you, it can be night. But at the same time, man, when is the last time that Costa won against a decent opponent? I can't remember, to be really honest.
He has no wins over anyone in the UFC.
Yeah, exactly. And that win over Romero was also super close. It could have gone another way, or could have gone a different way. The Rocco win, I don't really, how do you say that? See that as a huge win because Rocco was on his way out back then.
That fight should not have been fight of the night, by the way.
I didn't understand why that was fight of the night. I feel like, dude, as longer the fight goes, the more Strickland has a chance to win here, you know. And I'm picking Strickland by decision, man. I think his cardio is good. I think Costa's cardio, we have seen before that he is fading after a couple of rounds, you know. And against Whitaker wasn't that bad, you know, but still, Strickland for me all the way, man. Decision win for Sean Strickland here.
Honestly, man, I like watching Costa fight because he does come to fight. He's a very tough guy. We saw that against Marvin Vittori. He's got a brick head. I mean, I love to see that, right? A guy who's going to stand and trade. We saw it against Whitaker too. So I'll give him credit for being a tough guy that will come to fight. But I also feel like he's one of the more overrated fighters in the UFC too. I mean, he has no wins over anyone on the roster. None. And this line is close. I think Sean Strickland wipes the floor with him, man. Honestly, I really do. I think the first round is going to be the only scary round, really, for Sean. Sean's got to watch out for those punches. Cost is he's gonna go for it. But again, like you said, the longer the fight goes, I'm with you completely. The more it favors Sean, and we know Sean comes on strong late. To be honest with you, Marcel, I think Sean finishes this fight late. That's what I think happens here.
Possible,
I think
very possible.
When his cost had been 5 against Vettori, right? That's it. But that was at 205. He's going to have to cut weight to make 185. I actually wonder if he'll make the weight, and if it does, how much it drains him, right? Because I think that's a tough cut for him. Go ahead.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you like the fun stuff around Costa all the time? The bullshitting on Twitter and Instagram.
I don't follow him or anything. I see retweeted and stuff, but I don't. It's
a lot of people
think I don't care about it.
A lot of people think it's really funny. I think it's really lame, man. It's really not like
the secret juice thing and stuff.
I don't mind that, but just the games with I didn't sign the contract. It's
lame. I think it's super lame. And listen, like again, I think the guy is a good fighter. He'll come to fight. But like I said, I just think he has no wins already on the roster, and the Whitaker fight was competitive. We'll give him that. I will give him that. It was more competitive than I thought.
Yeah.
But he still lost. He still lost the fight. And again, it was he landed that kick at the end of the round.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, he lost most of the fight.
He lost everything of the fight besides that kick. That kick, pretty much,
Sean's solid, man. Sean's solid. Like, again, Marcel, I was there in Toronto. I was cage side. I scored the fight for Drakus.
Mm-hmm.
Very close, though. Very close. He lands one more big shot that wobbles Drakus, he wins the fight, right? Different set of judges, he might win that fight and be the champ right now. So, to me, losing a razor close fight with Drakus, it's not a huge deal. And I actually, like I said, I think Sean should be a bigger favorite here, personally. I mean, listen, I know he's been knocked out. He got knocked out twice. He got knocked out by Pereira, but I think everyone gets knocked out by Pereira for the most part. Like, Yuri got knocked out by Pereira. The guy's a beast, dude. And Zaleski, all those years ago, that knocked him out. That wasn't very good, but that was 6 years ago.
I still don't understand all these people trying to strike with Pereira. I still don't get it.
That's Sean's game, though. That's Sean's game. No,
I know with Sean, but it's also Yuri. It's also like these guys, Jamal.
Yuri, I don't understand because Yuri submitted Glover, so there's no reason he couldn't have taken down Pereira and submitted him too. Like, again, we talked about Jan Blachowicz was the only guy who fought him smart, right?
Yeah, the thing is, like, Jan wasn't prepared well for Salt Lake City. He was gassed after 5 minutes, and that cost him the fight.
And what was the other guy? Bruno Silva. I think he fought him pretty well too.
Yeah,
that's about it. Like,
and Andreas Michailidis in this debut, the first round, he wrestled him, but then
it's actually funny. The guys that in the beginning of his career were taking him down, the unranked guys, and now these ranked guys. Now, to be fair, they matched him up pretty well. Pereira with other strikers, right? Anyways, getting back to this fight, like, I just like Sean a lot, man. I mean, these wins are aging well too. The ones he has, like the Izzy win is amazing, obviously, but the Abus, Abus has looked, at times really good. Like in his last fight, he looked really good, right? So that's a good win. And then the Imavov win looks really good, doesn't it? Imavov, doesn't that look like a good win?
For sure, it looked like it. And it was a 4 days notice.
Doesn't the Brendan Allen win look? That was short notice too, and he destroyed Brendan Allen. Doesn't that look good right now? So I remember when I saw him fight for the first time against Bubba McDaniel. That's the first time I saw him fight. And I thought that Bubba McDaniel was a veteran. He came over from Strikeforce. He was a fighter. Yep. So I'm like, okay, but I think Bubba was favored, and Bubba was supposed to win. And then Sean completely wiped the floor with him. I'm like, okay, this guy's interesting.
He's still out with half-long hair, right?
Yeah, that's when he was Tarzan. Yeah. Actually, it's funny. When he fought Izzy, Buffman called him Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan, yeah.
He stopped calling him that after. I think Sean's like, shut up, man. I'm not Tarzan anymore. So anyways, getting back to the fight, I like Strickland. I think he wins by knockout. I think he wins a performance bonus. So that's my thoughts. Talked a lot about this one, guys, but I really like Sean in this fight. What's up, Mike? How's it going, man? Glad to have you here. All right, we'll go to the next fight. And by the way, I like Joe's pick here. I think a late stoppage.
Very possible.
All right, next fight, we got the UFC lightweight title on the line between Islam Makhachev and Dustin the Diamond Poirier. And the odds for this one have Islam as a massive favorite here, minus 575. Plus 425 on Dustin Poirier. And I'm picking Islam to win the title. And I think he wins by submission. Love Dustin. He's one of the best lightweights, featherweights ever. Super fun fighter to watch. Super cool guy. He's just an absolute beast. We know how good Dustin is. He's a legend, dude. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer for sure. but Islam is too. Islam is amazing. You know, actually, I didn't even realize this until the other day when I was looking at the records. You know, Islam has 13 wins in a row.
Yeah.
And you know that's third all time in the UFC.
I didn't. Okay.
Dude, he's only behind Usman and Anderson. Yeah. So he's tied with Jones, Demetrius Johnson, GSP. He's tied with all these legends. So he's gonna break that record, I think, in this fight. He's gonna get to 14. And I think remember when Usman fought Edwards, I mean, it showed you all, to be honest, I think it showed you how hard Anderson's record is to beat.
Yeah.
And because Usman was winning, he got brutally knocked out with that head kick against Edwards, and he hasn't won since then. So the thing with Islam is he's still in the prime of his career, right? He's 32. He's a monster. He's an amazing grappler. We saw against Volk the head kick, amazing. You know, I gotta be honest with you, man. When he was coming up, I wasn't 100% sold on him because he had fought a bunch of guys that aren't very good. But then when he fought, what was it, Oliveira, and when he fought Volk and destroyed them, I'm all in on this guy now. I think he is one of the best lightweights we've ever seen in the sport. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I kind of feel like he's better than Khabib, too. I don't know what you think about that, but I kind of think he might be. What do you think?
That's very possible, man. He definitely has a striking over Khabib, in my
More
opinion.
of a finisher, in my opinion.
The thing is, like, I think if it comes to pure ground game, I think Khabib is still better than him, you know. But if it comes to striking, maybe more complete, I'd say Islam.
9 finishes in the UFC, man. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you want my pick here?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead, please.
So the thing is, like, people say, like, yeah, Dustin did really well against Benoit. Listen, if Dustin does the same game against Benoit as he did to Islam, he gets finished in the first round, you know, if he jumps for the guillotine again. I don't think he will this time. Maybe he does. You never know. But I think Islam wins this fight, man. I mean, I don't see Dustin winning. If Dustin does it, and it sounds really weird because Dustin is a really good fighter, but he has a puncher's chance pretty much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, that's how far I would go. I think Islam subs him, man. That would be in the first or second round, so I think we'll be early. The thing, we'll see. But the thing is, like, listen. It's great when you remember when Charles Oliveira was a champion and Charles fought Chandler, Poirier, and Gaethje. All three were afraid to go to the ground with him. All three knocked him down, but didn't went to the ground with him. You know, Islam knocked him down, went to the ground, and submitted him. And it's the same thing. You know, if Poirier hit, for example, if Poirier is able to knock him down, he's probably not want to go to the ground with him. You know. And Islam doesn't care. I think Islam shoots for a takedown. I think he gets Poirier down. I think he submits him. So Islam first or second round submission for me here.
I mean, that's kind of Dustin's kryptonite. That's the problem, right? Because he's been submitted 3 times, and Oliveira did a third round. I'm just double checking. Yeah, Khabib third round, and what was the other one? Chance on Jung fourth round. Yeah. So a little bit later in the fight. I mean, listen, I think Dustin, he's definitely got a puncher's chance. I mean, you have to give it to him, but again, I picked Dustin against Benoit. A lot of people thought it was crazy in that fight, and he came back and won that fight. And it was brutal, and he gets the title shot here. So I like Dustin. I have a pretty good read on him for the most part. I get a lot of his fights right. He's going to have a puncher's chance. He's dangerous. He is a southpaw. The Adriano Martinez guy, I think, was a southpaw too, right? So, you know, it's MMA, man. It's MMA, Marcel. 4-ounce gloves are now 3-ounce. Actually, I should mention that they're going to use the brand new gloves. So this is the first card with the new gloves. They're smaller. They're 3 ounces, which is funny because people have looked at the rules and it's supposed to be 4 ounces, but they're smaller.
I think it differs if when you how do you say
XL,
that? In size, yeah, you got extra small.
Well, I don't think these guys have Derek Lewis's hands.
No, I don't think so either. No, but it will be somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean?
For sure. Anyways, Dustin's got a puncher's chance. I can't pick him though. I think Islam submits him. I think that's the bet to make Islam by sub. Go ahead.
You saw where Islam said in the clip where he said, like, these gloves are very more, how do you say that, pretty solid, and they will probably get more cuts with it because it's not very stretchy. That's what he said.
We'll see what happens. I mean, we don't have any proof, right?
No,
at this point, you know. So
I actually want to buy these gloves because I want to know how they feel. You know what I mean? So
for sure. By the way, Islam by sub is plus 100. That's the bet to make, I think, guys, because I think that's the best path to win for him. You're not laying any juice. You're getting even money on it. I don't think he knocks Dustin out. He could TKO with like ground and pound, but Dustin's not Bobby Green. You know, Dustin's not going to go there and give up. And by the way, Dustin has said this could be his last fight. I don't know what you think about that. What do you think, like, when a guy says, "I'm not sure. I'm on the fence about retirement now"? I don't like hearing it.
That's pretty much a 90% fate for me already when I hear.
I don't
those
like
kind of
hearing it,
things.
dude. And like,
Yeah.
I get it because he's
Of
not that
course.
old. He's the same age as me. I mean, actually, he's your age. Actually, he's 89. And he's been in so many fights, right? I get it. Even against Benoit, dude, he took some damage in that fight. I get it. Justin knocked him out, but I just don't like hearing that. I don't like hearing it, especially going against a guy like Islam, where you need to be 100% mentally confident you're going to win the fight. And if you're already talking about, well, I might retire after this fight, I don't like hearing it. We might look like dumbasses next week. He might get the knockout. It might be like another Bobby Green Dawson fight, Marcel, where he just clips him. You know, it could happen.
Can I ask you
I
something?
wouldn't count on it. Go ahead. Yeah. Sure.
So people, you have those 3-round gloves and 5-round is the golden. But those golden 5-round gloves, are they only for championship fights or also for 5-round fights?
Bro, I don't know. I mean, I thought they were just for the champs, but
yeah, because if it's for 5-round fights, then maybe Costa and Strickland will use it as well. So that's
not sure. I guess we'll find out this weekend.
Yeah, obviously.
A couple other comments. Yeah, Islam subs. Yeah, I think rear naked choke is likely. Glad to have you here, JP. Glad to have you here, man. So I think rear naked choke. All right. Anything else you want to talk about this card? I mean, listen, I think it's, after we talked about it, man, I'm a little bit more like pumped about it. Like, I got to be honest with you. Hopefully you are too, dude, because I always enjoy talking about the fights with you.
Listen, I'm always looking forward to the cards. Just like I'm just being honest before the card started. I think it's a top-heavy card with 2 fights that are really pay-per-view worthy. The other ones are okay, but I don't think it's like, listen, this is not like 298, 299, or 300. It's definitely better than 297, but it's not difficult to be better than 297. I think it's a better card than 301 on paper, And to be really honest, 303, the International Fight Week card, it's fucking underwhelming, in my opinion. It's now 3 good fights on it, 3 pay-per-view worthy fights are on it, but it's really underwhelming.
Yeah, I agree.
For International Fight Week card.
For sure. By the way, I'm going to be doing this the live stream again with those guys at Sports Interactions. I'll be downtown Toronto next weekend, going down there to watch the card with those guys. And I did 299, 300, and 301 with them. So they've got me back for this card and 303.
Nice.
And I guess we'll see after that. I mean, they like me. I like them. So it's always fun, It's a lot of fun, man. It's good to because I watch a lot of the cards by myself these days, to be honest with you. And it's always nice to get out there with some other people and watch, like back in the day. I do miss. I mean, you don't live here, Marcel. You never did, obviously, but way back in the day, me and James would watch the cards every weekend. It was awesome. We have some beers, watch the fights. It was fucking sweet. So I miss that. I'm a little different at this point in my life, right? But my dad now, I'm more responsible and everything like that. But it's always nice to get out and watch the fight with the boys. All right. Anything else you want? Oh, by the way, here's a question from Pato. Do you know if he's with OTR management, Romanov?
He is now with no, he's now with Sucker Punch, I think.
There you go. Anything else you want to mention, man? We're going to do a quick podcast here, guys, just to do some fight announcements. Is there anything else you want to talk about really quick or no?
No, I'm good, man. Let's go to the next one.
Let's do it, boys. All right, guys. So we appreciate everyone joining us. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast, guys. It's always fun doing it. I think we've been doing it for like 4 years now, Marcel, yourself and I. So it's been a while, but I always love doing the show with you, man. Always enjoy it. Just give me a minute, guys. I'll tweet out the fight announcements and news, and if you can join us, great. If not, we'll see you guys next week for the recap and previewing KFC, UFC KFC in Louisville, Kentucky. So that'll be next week. But until then, guys, talk to you soon, and hopefully you can join us for the fight announcement show. Peace.